Hey Pablo, what's up?
Hey, man. First of all, thanks for having me here. I know we've been talking about meeting for a while now, but we finally made it happen, which is what counts.
Hmm.
Just to introduce myself briefly to anyone watching this, I'm Pablo. I'm a 27-year-old guy. I'm from Chile. Um, right now, I'm living in Europe, right? And yeah, I'm the founder of Versa. Previously, Versa AI. Now it's only Versa.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Versa is a language learning app. Can you kind of explain, the benefits and the features of Versa?
Definitely. So the whole point behind Versa is that it's a tool that allows you to practice a language by having natural and open-ended conversations with an AI chatbot, right? AI chatbot slash tutor. So I figured that, well, I love learning languages. I'm very into that. And most solutions out there are very structured, right? They give you pre-scripted sentences or just list of words to memorize. But this is Versa is the opposite of that. Is a more open-ended solution to practice what it's like to have a conversation.
Yeah. So kind of what led you to create Versa?
So it's a combination of different things actually. First of all, I'm very into tech, into programming, right? And I wanted to
Hmm.
explore the possibility of using AI to develop something new.
Hmm.
But also, I'm very interested in languages, and I have been for the longest time. And I I realized like I'm learning a new language. I started learning a new language some time ago. Times I made the most progress with the language is when I actually used it in a
Hmm.
conversation. So I was learning this language, right? And I was using Duolingo and some other tools, and yeah, they were okay. But it was only when I met someone, a native speakers, and when I became friends with this person, that I
Hmm.
realized, hey, like I'm learning. I'm learning new words. I'm learning how to use the language. Okay, I had to use the translator a lot, right? Like it wasn't perfect by any means, but I
Hmm.
realized that the conversation helped. You need to use the language.
Hmm.
So when I was thinking for the, so when I was trying to come up with an idea for nights and weekends, I really struggled to think of something. I was like, okay, what can I build? Blah blah. And then at some point, everything clicked. I was like, okay, languages, AI. Now we can like now this is possible, right? Now we can have someone you can practice
Hmm.
with. Everything just clicked. I was like, okay, this is it. Let's do it. And that's how it was born.
Yeah. Can I ask how many languages you know or speak?
Yeah, well, I'm a native Spanish speaker. I grew up in Chile. I speak English, obviously. I speak Italian, but I'm a bit rusty, right?
Hmm.
And it's funny because through developing Versa, I've been able to improve it over these past weeks. But yeah, Italian, I'd say, and I've been learning Russian, which is very different from anything I was used to
Hmm.
before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I dabble with Chinese, a couple other languages, but it just takes a lot of practice. Didn't have the time, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the languages that
Yeah.
I'm working
I think you might be the person that knows the most languages that I've uh,
on. Oh,
met so far.
that's cool.
That's
That's
very
cool.
multilingual. So, what do you normally use to like learn those languages? Like, is it Duolingo? Is it flashcards?
I mostly use YouTube. Most like
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, I'd say is like 70 to 80% of what I use to practice languages.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how I'm feeling, like depending on the mood I'm at, literally, I read some blogs or I listen to like YouTubers speak or just like those who research in the language or some grammar drills.
Mm-hmm.
I often use Duolingo as well, but not to learn. Duolingo for me is more a way of keeping the language fresh in my mind, like
Mm-hmm.
not forgetting it,
Yeah.
not necessarily learn it, but not forgetting it. But yeah, YouTube by far is my best resource,
Mm-hmm.
and then like some writing and stuff.
Yeah. So does Versa? I tested it a while ago, but I didn't
Mhm.
remember to test if when I made a mistake, or I said something improperly, does it correct you on those mistakes, or does it attempt to continue the conversation?
Now it corrects you. When you tried it, I remember at that stage I
Yeah.
hadn't had that feature yet. I didn't have that feature, but now it corrects you. Yes.
Okay.
So now let's say, for example, you want to learn Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can text Versa in either English or Italian,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to understand either way. If you type something in Italian, it's going to assess it, right? So it's going to tell you whether how many mistakes you made and what mistakes you made
Mm-hmm.
and how to correct them. So yeah, that's a feature that was requested a lot.
Yeah.
So I wanted to push it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So it sounds like you are using AI to kind of recreate that conversational kind of experience where
Hmm.
you're you're basically people have always said that the best way to learn a language is to move to that language's country and just immerse yourself there.
Absolutely.
Um, but language is only kind of part of the story of why we should learn languages. So do you have any like future plans for Versa, like incorporating new languages or incorporating other experiences into it, like maybe have a visual character or something that represents that country, kind of like how Duolingo has an owl, but like you know.
Yeah, yeah. Do you mean like a more cultural immersion, like cultural experience?
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is in the roadmap. Yes. For now, since well, we're both in the nights and weekends program, this is moving so fast. So I'm focusing on the most critical features, like
Mm-hmm.
the most
Yeah,
technical features, so to speak.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so that's my focus at the moment. But down the line, definitely I mean, you said it. A language is not just language, right? A language is like the access to a new culture, a new part of the world, new people, new foods, new
Mm-hmm.
traditions. And I down the line, I would love for Vesta to take that into account and to include that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's
Yeah.
definitely something I want to like. I want to help Versa portray the beauty of the unique or the uniqueness of each culture.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in the roadmap, as I said.
Yeah. So, nights and weekends is almost over, right? It's week 5. There's less than 10 days left. So do you plan on doing this in season 4 or like continuing this project as like a passion project on the side in the future?
I want to continue Versa definitely. Um, my plan is after nights and weekends, I want to turn it more into a proper startup and apply to some other types of programs more focused on startups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either that can offer some technical support or that can give me access to potential co-founders or to capital even.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to apply to Nights and Weekends season 4. Yeah, because I mean the community is great. There
Mm-hmm.
is uh, we know this already, right?
Yeah.
We have met so many cool people building cool stuff from all over the world. The community, the spirit of that is great. So I would definitely consider applying, but I'm looking into more startup focused solutions or accelerators
Mm-hmm.
because I really believe that I'm onto something here. I believe that there's a lot of potential for something like this in the industry in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely keep working on it. I'm working on Versa full time pretty much at the moment. Like I'm
Oh,
doing all that. So yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I mean, unless you get someone to pay you, that might be
Yeah,
hard to do long term. Yeah.
yeah. Like to yeah, of course. If I want to turn it into a business, then it needs to make money somehow. That's true. But I'm of the idea that whenever you have enough eyeballs and the attention of people in a product, then
Mm-hmm.
the monetization just follows, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm focusing on building a cool product that people find useful, that people can actually use and enjoy using,
Mm-hmm.
and then down the line, I'll consider monetization. I haven't I don't have the exact step by step plan on how I'll monetize it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea here is to for a freemium model, like uh, basic features, right? And then if you want like more advanced features, you can
Yeah.
get a pro plan or something like that.
Yeah. Um, so something like subscription based, kind of like Duolingo in a way where you can learn using the basic features, but you'll learn faster or avoid ads with the paid version. Um,
Mm.
I just wanted to ask if you've ever discovered through your testing or through user feedback that someone who's fluent in the language that it's testing and the AI is like getting it wrong or like making mistakes. Has that ever happened?
There are some mistakes. The app is not perfect yet. There's a lot of testing involved in this, and a lot of like polishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This feature. Right now, the well, just to be clear, the conversation, the response that Versa gives you, and the translations that it gives you, the suggestions, they're perfect, and any, I haven't had any problems with it, nor have
Mm-hmm.
the users I've interviewed. But there are some small issues with the corrections that it makes whenever you make a mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be transparent, and I listed that on the website. It says that that feature is currently in beta,
Yeah.
so there's some more experiments to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to people that are fluent in the language, people that have studied languages as a major in university,
Mm-hmm.
and they love the product, love Versa. They find it super useful, and they say, "Hey, I wish this existed like 10 years ago." Right? Even though it's not perfect, it still adds it's adding value to people right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like there's a lot of work to be done here to make Versa as precise as possible. But I'm very confident that through enough experimentation and through enough work, it's going to get better. Besides, the technology moves so fast,
Yeah.
so fast. So it's just a matter of time until we get like the you know
Instant
the
translations.
mhm.
Yeah. I think uh, language learning is really tied to like education. So I wanted to see what are your thoughts on like the general education sector because like education for me is one of my main like hopes for AI. It's going to like I believe everybody has access to like a personal tutor that can help them through any topic they really want to learn. And I wanted to see you what thoughts you had on AI coming to this education kind of industry.
I mean, AI is revolutionizing every industry at the moment, and we're very early in the in this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very fresh, very early. But I see education definitely is going to be one of the main areas that is affected or like updated by AI. I think it's early to see how it's going to be affected specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see AI being used to get like personalized tutors or personalized curriculums for each student, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all have different learning styles, we all have different interests and different needs education wise. So I definitely think AI is going to play a role in that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
very excited about it because, as I said, the technology moves on so fast, and every day we're getting closer to more personalized solutions, right? Solutions that apply to different types of individuals and students.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I'm excited to try out Versa again with all these updated features. Um, I saw on your Twitter that you were recently considering uh, making accounts, um, like benefits for accounts. Could you go into
Hmm.
a little bit more detail on some of the features that would involve?
Definitely. Actually, I'm working right now, and I was working on it like 30 minutes ago, 30 minutes before we started this interview. Um, so yeah, definitely want to incentivize people to create accounts in Versa because of all the features that are coming up. The one that I'm working on right now is I'm allowing registered users to save the conversations, to save the chats, right? Because right now, if you have a conversation and then you close the app, it just gets lost. But
Mm-hmm.
now they're going to be able to save the chats. They're also going to be able to change, to save their favorite words or the words they consider the most useful, so they can practice later. So
Mm-hmm.
that's happening this week, right? But down the road, um, I'm going to make Versa more personalized. So if you create an account on that, Versa is going to be able to assess your progress and assess your level in the language to offer
Mm.
more tailored conversations.
Yeah.
Right,
So
that's coming down the line for registered users.
yeah, you can. Do you think you can like build your own curriculum in some way, like um, make it so that the users that are using it, if they want to learn the language fluently, you can check how many times that word has been used in those conversations and kind of use that to correlate with their like proficiency.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I was working on also. Like when you save a word that you want to practice more, right? So we'll keep track of how many times you use that word in the conversation, how many times it appears in the conversation, right? So that's one way we can assess but also by analyzing the entire conversations, like all the chats as a whole, you can get a sense of what the level is, right? So you can tailor the conversation towards a more beginner level or more advanced level based on all that data.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's definitely coming, and uh, I hope to have it ready in the upcoming weeks.
yeah. I think it's kind of intimidating for levels, so I hope you know because I took Japanese in high school, right? But at the end of 4 years, I was taking AP Japanese, and compared to a native speaker, right? That was like the equivalent of like an 8 to 10 year old. So uh, the levels, kind of I wouldn't say it's really easy to divide it into like beginner, intermediate, and advanced,
Yeah.
because being fluent is such a like big thing that you need to commit time to, that it might be intimidating for users to be like, 1 year long and they're still a beginner, but that's normal for languages. I just don't know if that's the best thing for users to kind of see, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think there's a lot of work to be done in terms of how I present this and how I tell the user the level basically. But something that in my opinion, needs to be done and needs to be taken into account is um, like Versa still needs to know the level of the user, right? Somehow, so we're able to offer more personalized chats and solutions, even if we don't inform the user right away, or even if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I just forgot words. Uh, but yeah, it's definitely something it needs to be taken into account. But also the whole concept of being fluent is very complex because sometimes you can speak a language but cannot really read it, or you can read it and understand it but cannot really speak it. So there's a lot of areas to take into account here, and also that depends on the language you're learning, right? Some people can, for example, read and understand Arabic but cannot speak it, or the other way around. So yeah, there's a lot of fine tuning to do here. I think we're at a very early stage still, but it's good to talk about these things because it helps me come up with a clear roadmap. Like,
Yeah. Just ideas to keep, on the
yeah.
peripherals. So I wanted to talk about season three. So what was your demo day goal, and have you met that? Are you on track? Um, yeah. So how are you doing?
So my demo day goal is to have 50 users and 50 people that create an account with Versa. I'm not quite there yet. I'm on track. Yeah, I'm on track. Well, I was until like the last update, but it's proven really hard. It's proven quite hard because, well, first of all, I naturally default to building and shipping
Yeah.
updates to the product itself. And marketing the product is a whole new field, right? A whole new, basically a full-time job, right? So yeah, it's been very challenging when it comes to that. I've been talking to users one on one. I've been promoting it on WhatsApp groups, language learning WhatsApp groups, and friends and family and acquaintances and people that I meet, which is very good. Like I've been doing good, but I don't know. It's definitely a challenge. It's definitely a challenge too.
Have you tried Reddit at all?
I have tried Reddit. I haven't covered all the language learning groups yet, but I've definitely tried a couple. Thing is, I feel like they're very restricted. Like they have very specific policies again. Like okay, don't promote here,
Yeah.
don't promote that,
It
right? So
depends
so
on the subreddit, But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're
So
making a
yeah.
new account for it, it's kind of like hard to like advertise something because people are just going to be like, oh, this guy's just spamming
Yeah,
his
yeah,
own stuff. Um,
exactly. So I'm using for now. I've been done mostly done the WhatsApp groups and then one-on-one, right? But
mhm.
with Reddit and I've done Facebook groups as well.
Yeah.
Um, but whenever there's a lot of moderation, it's kind of like hard because they usually don't like people promoting their products. But there's a lot of work to be done in that area, like, definitely. Because as I said, I always default to building, and that's
Hmm.
something it's a mindset shift.
I will say that there are a lot of Reddit subreddits that have their own Discord. So if you don't like meet the karma on Reddit itself, I would suggest you join their Discord group, and they probably have like some channels where you can like post your stuff like
That's
immediately.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good actually. So so yeah, that's something I hadn't considered actually. I'm not too big on Discord. To be honest, I've barely used it. I've been pretty much only using it for the nights and weekends
yeah,
program. So it didn't come to mind, but yeah, that's
yeah.
good. I'm going to tap
I think Discord is basically the place now for communications. Before it used to be like Skype, right, for video and
that.
chatting with friends, and then Discord came out, and that's like where everybody is now for gaming and stuff. Zoom is like the professional kind of video
Mm.
talk, but you're not gonna hop on a Zoom with like
Yeah,
your friends on a Friday night, right? You're gonna go to Discord.
yeah. Discord.
Um,
That's good.
yeah,
I'm definitely gonna try that. And after this call, I'm gonna write it down and just
yeah. Um, But yeah, so I'm happy to hear that you're on track. I feel like Versa is going to be a really great kind of product. Um, do you feel pressured by like any competitors? I think Duolingo is kind of probably they're working on like their own AI of some sort. But yeah, do you feel like affected by any of that?
absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, Duolingo has launched something similar. I mean, they use AI for like some more advanced rails. But even if they hadn't, I feel the pressure because I know that somewhere in the world there's someone with the exact same idea working on
Mm-hmm.
it, right? And at the end of the day, what makes us special, like what makes a product good, it's not the idea itself, but it's the execution.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making sure my execution is good and like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what pushes me, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
work every day on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely know that there's competition, and even if there wasn't, like there's going to be because it's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. And as for marketing, where do you normally post? Is like on Twitter, and you mentioned like WhatsApp groups and Facebook. But how often do you post? Like, do you post after you launch a new feature, or do you post like on a time basis? Like once a day, once a week. Like, what did that look like?
So I don't know if you call it strategy, but the way I do it is I don't like to sound spammy or
Mm-hmm.
salesy. So what I do is every time I have a new feature, yeah, I post it on Twitter, I advertise it, and I put a brief demo. But also I like to document the process. So whenever I'm working on it, whenever like some milestone happens, or whenever I have something to say, I just show it to kind of show people the process and
Mm-hmm.
help people resonate with it and connect to it. Um, so yeah, that's those are the most of the content. That's like 90% of the content that I've been putting out on
Yeah.
Twitter mainly.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Um, Yeah, for me, I'm doing like video creation, so I don't really post until I like launch the video, and then I'm like, here's the
Yeah.
link to watch. But I've been considering like posting more about the in development kind of side. So kind of like either when I first have a video idea thought, right, to see if anyone would be interested in that idea before I do it. But I'm not too sure. Um, but yeah, uh, I would say don't worry about com- competition because there's so many people in the world, and if you only have like 100 people using your app, but 100 people really love your app, then that's all you need, right? Because with those 100 people, you can go and make other apps. You can go and make, you know, new features based on them, and really make that app the best app for those 100 people. And you don't need like Duolingo who has millions of people using it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's good reasoning, and I think that especially applies at the beginning, like at the early stage that I'm at,
mhm,
like finding the first key users that love the product. Um, yeah, definitely. I think that's why I also try to share the process of building Versa on Twitter, because
mhm,
I feel like people can resonate more on that, and yeah, so basically I'm trying to build like that small community of people, right?
mhm,
Eventually, of course, I would love to scale it and like reach as many people as possible, but for now,
mhm.
um, yeah, the core is the key is to find out the people that love the product.
So, how are people submitting feedback to you? Like, is there a thing on the website, or do you have like an email or Discord or something?
I message them.
You have to message them, or
Yeah,
they have to
yeah.
message you. Like they,
No,
DM.
I mean both. I've messaged some people.
Mhm,
Some people have reached out to me. Um, some people that like there's there's a couple people that have found Versa, through the Twitter algorithm, and they
mhm,
message me and say, "Hey, this is a great. Like, how can I help?" Or like, do this and that, right? Um, so yeah, that's what has been going on, and with some other people like friends and acquaintances that I send the app to, I message them and say, hey, like, what do you think, or like,
mhm.
how was your experience with this? But yeah, but I'm definitely gonna put some contact form on the website. I think that will be very very useful actually.
Yeah, just so when just make it easier for them. Just be like,
Mm,
have a thought, just submit it. Um,
yeah,
I really appreciate you posting those like updates of like how you're progressing. Because that's kind of what I'm aiming to do with these interviews. Is like people want to do these things and they don't really know where to get started, or if they have an idea, they don't really know who to look for, right? Because all the really big famous people are like CEOs, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, and people can't relate to those guys because
yeah,
like they they're not college dropouts. Sometimes they finish college and they're in the middle of their careers or something, and they want change. Um, but really, I really liked using Vista, um, and I felt like it was a great idea, and that was the first time I've seen anything like it, um, like uh, like AI powered kind of language learning tool. And this week I've actually been looking through the nights and weekends leaderboard for the people with 0 points, and I found a similar kind of language learning tool, but it was very rough. Um, and I think the person building it has had some issues with like the back end and stuff. So I kind of want to ask you like what tech stack are you using, and how experienced are you with kind of this kind of web development, integrating AI into the workflow.
yeah. So um, I mostly work with Python and have been working with Python for like a really long time. So I decided to use Python for the backend, and I wanted something that would allow me to prototype this fast, launch it
Mm-hmm.
fast, right? I launched the V1 file. So I decided to use Python and Flask for the backend.
Mm-hmm.
I really try to not overcomplicate things, right? So I'm like using Firebase for data storage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like that's everything is built already, and I'm using React for the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with React, I don't have as much experience with React as I do with Python. In fact, I've only built a couple projects with React. And, but yeah, React apps are very simple to build conceptually.
Mm-hmm.
like just components inside components. So
Yeah.
that didn't take a lot of time. And now the newest component here will be using the OpenAI API, like the GPT API. But
Mm-hmm.
I had already experimented with it a little bit, so I knew how to set it up. So that process was fairly quickly,
Yeah.
right? So
You should copy paste, I think. But
yeah,
what?
basically, I
Yeah.
mean, I had to tweak it because um, the experiments that I've done with the API a couple of months ago were using a different endpoint, like
Mm-hmm.
different models, different endpoints, right? So of course, I had to tweak it and do a lot of experimenting there, but it wasn't a big change.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much the same.
So, how are you using like GPT 3.5 or GPT 4? Like which
I'm
model are you?
using I'm using the 3.5 Turbo, which is the best and recommended,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm praying every day that I will get access to the GPT-4. Like,
Okay.
I apply for the access, but I still need to.
Hopefully, you should get it soon.
Yeah, I hope I do. But even though it would be a major improvement, I know that I will get it eventually. I know that, as I said, the technology is moving so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's just a matter of time till Versa has access to newer and newer models. Plus, it's been like Google just launched
Oh yeah,
its AI.
Google.
So
Yeah.
there, there are a lot of options out there. Like every day is growing, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. My only concern with using GPT 4 is that it's very slow compared to GPT 3.5 Turbo. Um, and if you're not experiencing any like translation issues, using 3.5, I think it's actually fine to just stick with that instead of like upgrading to 4. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. And my answer to that would be that basically this is just finding the right tool for the job. Like even if
Mm-hmm.
I use GPT-4, doesn't mean that I'm going to use it for every feature in Versa. So GP, 3.5 is working perfectly for the chat feature, right? So maybe I could use GPT-4 for other features that don't require as much speed, but require more context, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a lot of trial and error, experimenting, and finding the right tool for the job.
Mm-hmm. And have you started thinking about, the subscription and kind of like the pricing you want to aim for? So like, you know, I think something simple would be like $5 a month, for example.
Yeah, that sounds like a good price, but again, I haven't thought about it. I haven't given it enough thought. As I said, I'm focusing on getting users at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building a product that people find useful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Building a good app, a good product. So I know that monetization is going to follow. I will need to really sit down and think about it in detail. Always trying to
Mm-hmm.
make it as affordable as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't given that enough thought yet.
I just want to remind you to like set like a limit on on your API key, just in case your app goes viral, and because I've seen a couple people that have like they don't expect it and their apps just go viral and suddenly they're charged like thousands
Mhm.
of dollars on a free
Yeah.
product. So
Yeah, actually, I never thought about it, but yeah, I've seen a couple of screenshots of people in Twitter like in the past few days. I'm like, man, like I don't know. They say, hey, I woke up this morning and had like I don't know a $500 bill on like
yeah,
OpenAI.
so
So definitely, yeah, good that you mentioned it. Actually,
yeah.
I should pay attention to
Um, I think that's all my questions. Do you have any last thoughts or things you wanted to talk about?
No, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, man. I well, first of all, yeah, I wanted to thank you, but also I wanted to congratulate you because I've been following your journey, and you've been working a lot on this. You've been putting a lot of effort and
Yeah.
reaching out to people and putting out different sorts of videos, iterating. Like I see your progress, right? And people see it as well on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, congratulations for that, for taking the initiative to reach out to founders and to other people as well to kind of like build this community.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like you said, I'm trying to find my key users, right? And in return, I want to be key users for a lot of you guys and your products because I genuinely find them like interesting and useful. Um, and I really want to see like how you guys evolve and develop over the next couple months, weeks, years. Um, and yeah, I'm going to keep following you on Twitter and stay tuned for updates. And
Amazing. And
yeah.
yeah, and I'll do the same for you. And well, I was thinking also side thought. I was thinking earlier
Hmm.
that how fun it would be, like I don't know, in 1 year down the line or two, like in the upcoming 2 years, to watch these interviews, right?
Yeah.
Like these first interviews, and see how we have evolved, how your channel has evolved. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, um, but I really feel that we have a community here, and that every person in the Next Weekends community is super passionate about what they're building.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that they're gonna get far, and we're gonna see the progress in like
Okay.
a couple months.
Yeah. Are you going to IOL? Either
Yes,
in
yes,
San
I'm going
Fran?
to Dubai.
Uh, I'm
Yeah,
not going to Dubai, but
you're going
you're
to San
gonna have.
Francisco.
Yeah, I'm going to California, but hopefully we'll see each other sometime in the future.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. I believe that everything's possible, and especially since we like to travel and participate in communities, like I'm sure it's gonna happen. Are you going to apply to season 4? Are you applying to the next one?
Um, I have to look at the dates. But most likely I'll probably try to apply just because I really like the way it's set up, and a lot of my content right now is actually based around buildspace, right?
Right.
So kind of like finding the newest, most amazing things that aren't really like big names yet, and trying to find those people and encourage them that you have a good product. You just have to stick with it and work on it. And if you
Mhm.
have 0 points, I'll get you to that first point. So
This
yeah.
this is great, man. I look forward to seeing you there. I would love to apply as well. I said that I'm more focusing on startup focused solutions,
Hmm.
but I I don't know. I really like to apply to season 4 as well, just because like the community, and
Yeah.
the accountability we give each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope to see you there. I won't see you in the in real life event,
Hmm.
um, but I'm sure like we'll
Someday.
stay in touch. Yeah, someday.
Yeah. Hi. It was so great meeting you.
This is great meeting you as well, man, and thank you for the opportunity once again.
Yeah. No problem. All right. Let's sign off and have a good day. See you.
Have a good day, man. Stay